Daniel, starting with you, what is your big concern when you look at a product like this and say, you know what, this should be illegal or not available readily?
It hits opioid receptors. There's nothing else in the diet that hits opioid receptors.
That's incorrect. Chocolate, cheese,
the level
spinach.
that was studied prior and during my time at FDA, that's a direct agonist to opioid receptors. It's being sold as a dietary supplement. One, dietary supplements by law don't treat chronic pain. They don't treat disease. They certainly don't treat addiction. That should be done in the care of professionals like this. And there's no magic bullets, I think everyone knows, for addiction. I mean, it's a lifelong process. So I think that's one. And two, there are gates for the regulatory process in this country, whether it's as a food or as a drug. It's great that people are impassioned, but we do a lot more than that in this country than just be passionate. That's why we have the safest food supply. That's why we have the safest drug supply, is we look at things in a way with scientific rigor, so we're assured that 2 years down the road, we didn't go, uh-oh, we made a big mistake.
Gentlemen, you both are addiction specialists. It can be so very difficult and so hard to get people who become addicted to opiates to find their way out. You have people who are proponents of this saying, this has helped me. Your thoughts on this, given how difficult, obviously, it can be for someone who's trying to overcome an addiction?
I'm a CEO of a drug and alcohol treatment center in Arizona, and I've been in this industry for 25 years. And, you know, the problem is a magic bullet. And there's a misperception because it's readily available that it's not problematic. And we have a medically managed detox that's Joint Commission accredited, which means it's the highest standard level of care in the country from a hospital perspective, with doctors and nurses around the clock helping people withdraw from substances. We don't use this in our detox. Why? Because there's no data for it to use it from that methodology. There are those cases, just like we have successful cases with Dr. Holcomb's son. There's those clients that I talked to just last week about, you know, a woman told me Kratom made me cray-cray, you know? I mean, it was like the same detox protocols for heroin and for pain pills are used for Kratom in our detox.
And since this acts on opioid receptors, do people also experience withdrawal when
Absolutely,
they stop
yes.
with this?
Yes, they do. And again, it's
yeah.
not, you know, everyone's chemistry is different, right? And I challenge our industry to do a better job of individualizing our assessments and our care and our treatment and our detox. And everyone's going to react to it differently.
And Ken, I'll ask you this, because as an addiction specialist, is your concern with this that it's readily available, that I can go into a smoke shop and pull it off the shelves?
Yeah.
Or is it that, you know what, this has no place, period, in treatment of addiction?
Absolutely. It's so available. I mean, you get people in treatment, and my experience is 95 of the people I meet aren't using it for pain. They're using it to get high. They're using it for abuse. So they'll come into a treatment center or sober living, and they'll go get it over the counter, and when they get it, it's not detected in the 12-panel test that we do. So that's where my concern is that people are still gonna abuse it, and it's gonna create even more of a nightmare that we're already going through in our country.
The American Kratom Association did a survey of 6,000 Kratom consumers for the reasons why they use this, and only 1.6% said it was for recreational use.
Yeah, but there's 3 million people using it. So
3 to 5 million
group.
people.
If you're getting high on it, you're not going to volunteer for your study.
No, that's not.
Has anybody actually, maybe you could answer my question. Has anybody actually studied an appropriate dosage or a withdrawal protocol or any of the side effects in kind of a safety and efficacy study that we would hope for a medication?
You nailed it. No, they haven't.
I'd like to frame the discussion a little bit on mental health. 13% of our population takes antidepressants in this country. 17% will experience depression. 1 in 5 people will have serious mental health illness. Of 20 million people were treated in 2009 for addiction, only 1.2 million went to an accredited treatment program. They can't afford it. So most of these people you see under the bridges and on the streets, their families hadn't had money, they didn't have the money, they couldn't go see somebody who could provide it to them. This is maybe their avenue. I'm not saying it's perfect by any means, but I think people should have the right to make a choice. And when there's 80,000 plus alcohol-related deaths in this country every year, 40,000 deaths from suicide, 6 deaths per day in this country from acute alcohol poisoning.